Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and game 1 in a series between ESC Goody versus ToD here on Metalopolis. We have ESC Goody spawning as the purple Terran player at the 9 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have M does not equal ToD spawning as the blue Protoss. I'm sure someone out there will let me know what clan ToD is a part of. I just don't recognize that particular handle. So Terran versus Protoss here on Metalopolis. It is going to be an ally spawn, so the walking distance is going to be the closest possible. The flying distance about the same as if it was a direct cross spawn, and we'll see what exactly these players will be trying to go for. I am interested in seeing how these games will play out. Terran versus Protoss. A lot of players I've actually cast a lot of Zerg versus Protoss recently, and many of those games just boil down to Stalker, Colossus, Mechanical Ball now, that mech ball. So difficult for Zerg players to deal with, as Corruptors aren't able to get within combat range of Colossi until you start using those Infestors, and then Infestor use does take a lot more macro skill and a lot more gas as well. So we'll see how these games do open. Goody deciding to open up with a front door seal, does have a supply depot here. Should be able to get up another supply depot there, and then stop any probes from being able to wander in. But we now have an early scouting coming in from ToD. So ToD doing an attack move scouting, and will quickly come across inside the base of Goody and then start harassing this probe. So yeah, gonna go straight after that probe already there. That one SCV, the SCV already down to 30 hit points, and now being pulled off. Another SCV's Stevie's twin brother coming in to try to deal some damage. Both sides did deal 20 damage towards each other, but now Goody's SCV, now another supply depot should be built down right there. No, now doing some scouting instead, and we should be seeing, I believe, a supply depot there. And now, oh, finally the upgrade to an orbital command, a 16 upgrade as opposed to the standard 15. I believe there was actually a little bit of a delay there in terms of that upgrading on that orbital command. It does take 35 game seconds, and now we see another probe trying to come back. One Marine now down on the low ground. A tech lab has been placed down, and this is very important for Goody. Goody wanted to get this Marine down onto the low ground to prevent the probe from being able to wander up the ramp, and that really limits the amount of information that he sees. All he sees was a barracks and a supply depot on the front door. He doesn't know if his opponent did add a tech lab for Marauders, or if he's perhaps going into a factory sort of play. We now see an SCV wandering around on the inside. A second assimilator has been placed down already. A Zealot trying to catch up to that SCV. The SCV wandering around, and oh, double backing around, and it looks like he may be able to escape without taking too much serious damage. And yes, Goody's SCV able to return all the way home, perhaps to mine more minerals, as we now have two SCVs joining out in addition to a Marauder. So this is going to be a very aggressive playstyle once again coming in from Goody. Goody perhaps going to try to put a bunker down in this position here, enabling him to perhaps hold ToD into one base play. There is a probe now making its way down, and that probe is going to quickly get shot down very, very easily. A concussive shell already been researched. Two SCVs, one Marauder and one Marine on that low ground. A second Marauder bringing up the rear, and that is going to be a lot of damage to deal. You can see now a second Zealot currently being chrono boosted out of there, as those SCVs, Marines, and Marauders now trying to make their way inside this base, going after some key pylons first. That key pylon, if it gets taken down, that Stargate will not be able to do anything. Two probes coming off as well. So probes versus SCVs, both sides are fighting back and forth, and those Marauders getting some concussive shell damage, slowing down some of those units. And now, oh, very nice pick off by ToD, making sure to micro onto that Marine. But now 3 Marauders in play, and those Marauders are going to be able to deal a significant amount of damage. 3 Marauders just kiting those Zealots. The Void Ray needs to be chrono boosted out and in a hurry, otherwise it will not see the light of day, as that pylon is going to get taken down. And oh, ToD losing that one Void Ray, and that is going to be a problem. Two Stalkers now try to fight back against these units over here. Stalkers are able to stand still and attack. Probes now trying to give chase. Another Marauder bringing in, coming back in as well, and now the probes are just trying to come in, and now down goes that Stalker. Warp gate research has been completed. ToD needs to warp in another pylon here. This one pylon may get taken down or get canceled in just a second. Probes now trying to come in, and now has been warped in as well. This gateway for some reason was not warped in, and now this pylon gonna get canceled. And Goody with this very, very early, very aggressive Marauder Marine SCV push, getting a lot of damage in. especially with that very careful micro, that stutter step, in order to be able to just maximize the amount of damage, constantly use that superior range of 6. Down goes another Zealot, 3 Marauders against 2 Marines, and I believe the Stalker should be able to finish off at least 1 or 2 of those, and now evening up the fight, and now it is 1 Marauder on the ground. The Void Ray could be trained, except for Stalkers and Zealots are being trained up as well. ToD realizing that he should have perhaps tried to double power his one Stargate. One Stargate with a Void Ray would have been the key difference in this battle, as that Stargate still doesn't have anything in it just quite yet. The Zealot now trying to give chase to that Marauder. The Marauder once again running away and able to hold on there, and now finally getting a Sentry, but that Sentry, a Sentry and a Zealot now coming in. That Sentry going to be able to drop in those force fields, and now Goody believes that he has done enough damage. Engineering Bay is down, should be upgrading, perhaps level 1 weapons upgrade already. No, not just quite yet, as he is going for a factory now, going into a double Rax build or a quad Rax build. So 4 Raxes, training up a lot of units, and now out moves a Phoenix. That Phoenix, very important in order to do some scouting inside this base. Goody has, ToD has no idea what exactly is going on inside Goody's base at this stage. In comes this Phoenix. Marines now trying to come in, able to get some damage, and oh, also a missile turret as well, and down goes that Phoenix. Not a hallucination. And Goody in a very, very safe position. If you take a look at the income now, we have 1,000 minerals coming in from Goody. Meanwhile, ToD currently sitting at only 700, so he is behind. We are getting a robotics facility, so that robotics facility for perhaps Immortals, but this is going to be very, very difficult, as we are going to have Marines and Marauders. Goody deciding to split up his units, a group on the high ground, a group on the low ground, making sure that he catches anything that tries to walk out over there. We are getting a lot of sentries now, so 4 sentries should be able to hold off this attack very, very easily. Oh, one poor SCV, which was very, very close, could have got shot down. A Stalker now being trained. We now see the Stargate still up and running, but not much really happening. An Observer now being trained. Marauders down over here, just massing up on the low ground, waiting to get an even stronger and stronger army. The factory is up, the Stargate is already in play, and now we have a reactor on that Stargate, or sorry, that starport. So that starport double training medevacs, and as Goody gets that stim pack and perhaps the combat shield and the concussive shells, he's ready to do an infantry push. We are getting that robotics bay now. It is going to be very important that Colossi are going to be trained in time. A lot of Zealots are going to be needed, but the problem with those medevacs is that those medevacs are going to allow for an elevator drop straight into the base. Goody now waiting to train up 2 additional medevacs, and then perhaps going to push with 3 or even 4 medevacs here. 1 observer outside, able to keep track of this army, and now ToD just sitting in that position. Will ToD's observer get scanner sweep, or is he just too mineral reliant? Goody has a plenty of energy on his command center, so he will be able to scanner sweep that. More Marauders still on the low ground, and now you see an SCV trying to walk up that ramp, going to get quickly shot down there. Waiting for that force field. Is the force field going to come into play? Oh, there's that force field, and then after the stim, so oh, in comes that elevator drop that we were talking about earlier. Got to be very, very careful. That one pylon in a little bit of an issue there, and now those Marauders and Marines are going to try to perhaps engage. No, another force field being dropped, so being very, very careful to not allow any of those units to come in. We do have a Colossus now trying to be trained. The Colossus does have a range of 6, so they will be able to start damaging those Marines. Are we going to get another force field? Waiting for that force field. Where is it? There it is. There's that force field. Marines and Marauders now coming in. Zealots trying to battle it out. There's that Colossus catching many of those units off guard, and down goes all those Marines. Nicely done by ToD, taking his time and being able to perhaps claw and fight his way back into this game. But Goody taking this opportunity to expand at the gold mineral patches on the south side of the map, and he will be able to get a strong economy going. ToD just pretty much confined in his base right now. Perhaps getting that second Colossus, or ending up with 2 Colossi with that extended thermal lance range will help him out significantly. More pylons, another gateway. Robotics bay is being chrono boosted in order to get that research a little bit more quickly. Double Vikings now being pumped out as well. The obvious counter to Colossi are those Vikings. So two Vikings. We have a couple medepacks, Marauders and Marines, and those Vikings in the air not going to be able to do all too much until they get more Viking brothers Vikings are really powerful against Colossus once they hit that 6 to 8 number. Otherwise, those Vikings just get shot down too quickly by those Stalkers. But ToD's still running off of one base, so that is going to be a problem. If he's only running off of one base, he's not going to be able to do all that much. As Goody now looking to do a drop straight into the base over here. ToD should be expecting this. Level 1 weapons upgrade, not even being researched. I don't even see a Ford, so no possibility of cannons at all. And now the medevac going to drop in. Those Marines already did take some damage off of those stim packs, so that may be the saving grace over there as Goody waiting for that drop, waiting for the timing. SCV now over here as well. It doesn't look like that medevac wants to do anything just quite yet, as we have an expansion down over here. So Goody opting to go for another command center down here should be able to fool his opponent into thinking, or fooling ToD into thinking he has one base. But oh, in comes a Phoenix. The Phoenix now coming in, getting some damage onto that medevac. This is going to be very, very critical. Are those Marines going to be able to drop out of there in time? It looks like it. Yes, it is going to be able to drop down in time, but Goody losing that one very, very important medevac just because he delayed his drop a little bit too long. So we currently have 2 Phoenixes in the air, a couple Stalkers on the ground, no weapons upgrade. Vikings are on the ground as well, but the Vikings are going to be focusing onto, I believe, the Colossi. And those the Vikings are going to be focusing on the Phoenixes, absorbing much of that damage, as Vikings do not deal bonus damage against those units. We do also have that Guardian Shield, and now in comes the Guardian Shield and Colossi, 3 Colossi, both sides battling it out. And I believe Goody is in trouble. Wait, there are still Vikings in the air though, so the Vikings should be able to finish off the last of those Colossi. There are a couple of sentries left, but there are not many units. Reinforcements now coming in. ToD needs to warp in units. He walked in a little bit too quickly into this engagement here. Stalkers are now finishing it up. That pylon is finally in place, so he should be able to warp in some additional units. Nicely done with the force field on the ramp as well. Colossus will be able to just simply walk up that ramp. In comes another Viking. The Viking going to try to focus down that Colossus, but the Phoenix is already in chase. Stalkers are on the ground. More units should be warping in behind that pylon. And nicely done. SCV's coming off the mineral line, and Goody just overplaying his hand, not realizing how far behind he is. Stalkers now inside his base. SCV's completely torn apart there. Stalkers continuing to deal more damage. There are mules and SCVs over here, and that's the only saving grace. But with so many units, with Goody not being able to mass up any units at all, that is going to be a problem. Stalkers continue to just focus fire. There are sentries, Guardian Shields are there, Marines dealing reduced damage because of those Guardian Shields, and Goody says GG. So a really well played game by ToD. ToD showing that even though he played human in Warcraft 3, that he does know something about Protoss. ToD keeping it cool and playing very, very smart, and was able to get those Colossi up, able to just counter, and also splitting up Goody's army. Goody, I think he made a terrible mistake here when he tried to walk up that ramp with those Marines and Marauders, knowing the sheer number of sentries that ToD had. With those sentries, the sentries were able to split apart about 10 food or 10 Marines from the rest of the group. The Colossus coming in at just the right time, finishing off many of those Marines, all the units on the low ground unable to do anything at all. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Goody and ToD here on Metalopolis.